Hi, I'm Rick Kahler. Thanks for joining me. Well, a recent online article in Financial Advisor magazine pointed out some disturbing factors that don't quite support the golden years of life after employment. The piece was written by Robert Laura, who's author of Naked Retirement, and was titled The Dark Side of Retirement. According to Laura, retirement for too many people is marred by what he calls a hidden epidemic of depression and addiction. He suggests financial planners can help their clients avoid these pitfalls by paying attention to non-financial aspects of retirement. Now, for me, Laura was preaching to the choir. I've long since learned from my clients that making a successful transition from employment to retirement is about much more than the money and 401k distributions. One way to make yourself less vulnerable to retirement's potential dark side is to think about retiring early. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean planning to quit your job at age 55, nor am I suggesting that you start telling all of your friends how you can't wait until you qualify for Medicare and senior citizens discounts. Instead, start well before retirement to think about what you want your life to look like, to be like after work. As part of that process, take a hard look at what you actually get out of your work. Most of us receive a lot more than a paycheck. A few of the intangible benefits of our jobs are social interaction and friendships, a sense of competence and accomplishment, a mental stimulation and the satisfaction of doing something worthwhile. There can be involved recognition and respect. It can be a big loss when a person moves from that environment. And if work is the only place you get most of those things, retirement can leave you really floundering. So instead of leaving a job or a career, which certainly can be challenging enough, it can feel like being torn away from the most significant part of your life. And one way to prepare for retirement is to focus on creating a life to retire to rather than from, and creating that vision of what you're retiring to long before you say that final goodbye to your boss and your co-workers. You need to make sure you have a social network outside of work, staying actively involved with friends and family, joining an organization or becoming more involved in one that you already belong to. The key is to build a circle of friendships beyond your job or your career field. Think about some of the retirement activities that will give you a sense of competence and satisfaction that your work might have given you. This could include hobbies or volunteering, taking classes or teaching them, mentoring others, or consulting. You might not have time to participate in any of these activities now, but if you did some research, and you can kind of consider what you want to do. I'd suggest that you consider how you're going to spend your days and weeks when your time is all your own instead of your employer's. I use several worksheets and exercises to help clients clarify what an ideal week in retirement would be. So ask yourself, what is an ideal week? What would an ideal day look like? If you don't make a plan for using your time, it's surprising how much of it will be used up by other people's priorities. If possible, explore the options for working part-time for a while after retirement rather than going from suddenly a full-time job to waking up one fateful Monday morning with no place to go and nothing to do. If you can, take some extended vacation time and try and figure out some of these things, or some of what you might want to do, or places you might want to live after you retire. Do your best to make retirement a process of evolution rather than a revolution in your life. Perhaps the most important way to avoid retirement's dark side is to make sure your work is only one part of your life and not your entire life. If you have a satisfying life outside of your work now, chances are you're going to have a satisfying life after retirement. At least you'll now retire to something rather than from something. Thanks for joining me.